He popped in.
Awesome. So and for anybody who hasn't signed up for the membership, CTA, here's a call to action. Sign up for the membership. Do it now because time is running out. Every week that you don't go through the program is a week you're not a millionaire. And I'll tell you how this works. The day I became a millionaire, that day is set in stone forever. Can never be taken away. Can't go back. But if I'd learned the things that I learned faster, I would be a millionaire faster. Does that make sense? So every day, and by the way, it doesn't stop at a millionaire. I'm a multimillionaire because the next year I reapplied all of the principles. I went and I bought a bigger piece of property. I took on partners and I've continued to grow this, continue to expand it. And now I'm in a business that I absolutely love, that helps people, that educates people, that inspires people, and still allows me to buy real estate and continue growing my portfolio because that's automated. I don't have to do anything to make that work. I could still go out and have impact now. Hands to Karen, if you know you were definitely one of those. You're one of those people who can do this, who can learn, who can teach. Absolutely. Of course. Dr. Terry Wager, you're up. Your take on wealth principle 47, hyper focus.
I talked about just a little bit when we were talking about the one thing, but I think about my whole career. And when I started making changes and I started getting into personal development, I had a lot of things to do because my life was a mess. I had, very little ability to live my life the way I wanted to. I felt dominated by a lot of things. And so when I started making changes, I realized that the hyper focus I needed to have was on where I wanted to go instead of all of the problems that I had. And as I made changes in my life and I started moving in the direction I wanted to, I became a psychologist. And I chose psychology over the idea of sociology because the idea of one. You can't change society by working on all of society, but one person at a time. Working with one person at a time, I found that I started to change big systems. And one of my coaches talks about big doors swing on little hinges. And so the idea is when you start to work on one thing, you can make massive changes if you really have that hyper focus and you start moving in the direction that you're really wanting to move. Our biggest problem is shiny object syndrome, the hesitation, the procrastination that comes with trying to focus on too many things at once. That's where hesitation comes from. And it's fear that the one thing we're doing isn't going to work. So then we try to diversify, or we try to fix things, or we try to move things. We try to hedge our bets. And whenever we're doing that, we're playing a very poor game of plan B. And plan B means I'm not doing plan A. And so we want to hyper focus on one thing. When we go for that, we start moving towards our goals much easier.
Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. And when Terry says goals, goal, right?
Absolutely.
He and I agree on priority management, not time management. We were goofing around with it the other day, and it really is, set one goal such that by doing that one goal, everything else would be easier or unnecessary. What is that one goal for you? And for me, I realized it was rental property management, not management, but if I could just get enough rental property, it would knock down every other goal that I had. So then I just hyper focused on one thing. I've got to get to 40 units. That was my hyper focus in the follower market, was get to 40 units. And then once I'd gotten to 22 units, I realized by hitting 22 units, I'd actually hit my goal. I was able to retire because the rents had gone up. I was buying them so good. I was buying them so low under market value that it was cash flowing better, and I was managing myself. Now, once I put property management in place and raised rents, it was fine. I didn't have to change anything. It was still, the cash flow was the same exact strategy as what it was when I was managing for myself. So I'm thankful that I hyper focused. Man, I'm thankful that I hyper focused on one thing. I got really, really good at finding good deals in rental property. Imagine if I'd hyper focused like all my competitors when I was an agent, all my competitors as a flipper or a wholesaler, they're hyper focused on competing with me. And it's like, dude, I'm only flipping, wholesaling, and being an agent because I don't want the deal I found. I'm going after my rental properties. That's all I'm hyper focused on. I want to buy this. any other activity they would see me doing was just a side activity. It's like, well, I'm not going to lose money, right? Warren Buffett's rule number one, don't lose money. And also rule number two, don't forget rule number one, never lose money. So if a deal comes to you, find a way to make money on the deal. But that doesn't mean you have to buy every deal. Just, maybe be willing to wholesale to somebody or be an agent on the transaction for somebody or do a flip. Sometimes we flip things because, well, there's too much money to be made and we're sitting on our cash. So let's flip it and then we'll put that money into something else. Patrick Sullivan, I see you're on the call, brother. Merry Christmas.
You as well? Yeah, I showed up late. I snuck in.
It's all good. I see snow on the roof of your Tesla. Is that doesn't
Correct.
Stop the snow from coming down, huh?
No, unfortunately not.
So what's your take on hyperfocus? You were a millionaire before you were 20, right? You did your
18.
18.
Yep. So actually, one of the things you brought up about focusing on what you were doing, and you're talking about, not worrying about the money and other things like that. It reminded me of somebody who's actually in the mentorship, who I talked to just a few weeks ago, who was analyzing the living crap out of every deal and like trying to figure it out, putting together an offer. And I asked him how many a day was he doing. And I kind of see a lot in this particular individual, so I pester him extra. So every day I was calling him. I'm like, how many deals did you put in? And he's like, oh, I did 3 today. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to get you. How many got accepted? None. So they're like, here, let's change gears. Why don't you go on MLS? I want you to send an offer to every single one of them for 30% less than whatever the market price is. He's like, well, what if it's worth it? Like, figure that part out later. Send one to everything. So he started sending out about 100 a day. He's got 2 under contract now. That like 2 people just happened to take it. Like neither one of them took the 30%, but they both took under market price. And they both made sense. But he got in front of all the people and managed to do it and then do all the legwork afterwards. Because he said like analyzing every little bit of everything doesn't matter because most of the people are going to say no to you anyway, regardless of how much analyzation you do. So it's not worth your time.
That's the truth.
And then just as a fun gloat thing, just to throw in there because I missed the early time. I just closed on a $2.5 million 17-unit deal on Wednesday, I think it was, and I didn't spend any of my own money. I bought a $2.5 million place, and I spent nothing out of pocket.
Let's give Patrick Sullivan a round of applause.
So never let money be the thing that stops you. You really don't need it, or at least not your own.
Hands to the camera if you heard what Patrick just said. Don't let money be the thing that stops you. You really don't need it to be your own, right? Yes. Man, Pat, I can't say how many times I've said it. You've said it. Terry said it. Ron Bowling has said it. And yet it still seems to be one of the biggest questions I get in the mentorship is, okay, like, but how do I find the money to put this offer in? It's like, dude, get an offer accepted. Let's talk later.
The best part of that particular deal, I paid market price for it, which is about what it was worth. And the only thing I did is on the offer form at the bottom of it, I literally wrote, this offer is subject to you holding, the owner holding 25% in second position, 6%, blah, blah, blah. It was literally like 2 lines that I just put in there. I didn't tell them beforehand. I didn't ask. I didn't prep anything. I just sent it. They came back and they said, sure, I'll do that.
Absolutely. And it ended up being less than that 6%, right? It ended up being 3%.
So yeah, then I ended up, the hard money lender said like, oh, well, you got the down, but we want you to put 5% in it anyway. So I went back to them and I said, hey, there was a shit show of a title issue going on. So it was taking forever. So I said like, hey, they want me throwing another 5%. Like, can you give me another 5% loans? And you're already doing 25, but this one's going to be off the books because I don't want the hard money people to know about it. They're like, and she's like, yeah, that's fine. And since everything's going to such shit, I'm going to give you 3% interest instead of 6. I'll just do it for both of them. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to fight with you.
Let's give Patrick Sullivan a round of applause. Who likes these examples? Real life stuff that's still happening right now in this market in Massachusetts. That's in Worcester, right, Patrick?
Yep.
Right in Massachusetts. It's supposedly a tough market.
If I might be able to say something about that. The real thing that Patrick does, that's the magic of what Patrick does, is people aren't necessarily going to do something until you have the deal for them to see. What a lot of people end up doing is they end up trying to figure out how they're going to get the money. And so they go after money with no tangible asset to talk about. And so when we as investors are looking to find the money, you have to have something like, I have this that I need the money for. Are you interested in loaning the money? But if I'm like, I have this idea that might work, that might be a property someday, would you be interested in giving me money? Everybody will say yes, but they're never going to actually sign on the dotted line or give you money before you have the tangible asset. So go put something under contract.
Absolutely. Who's learned something from this week? Cam, if you've gotten something from this, tactical, useful in your life, awesome, excellent. That's because you're smart. You're paying attention. I know that I have had this conversation, and some people walk away with nothing out of this. Same exact conversation, same stories, same information, and they'll walk away with, oh man, it's too complex. I promise you, this business is easy. This business is simple. Now, it takes steps. Yes, you have to do things. You'll have to get out of your comfort zone. It's not comfortable doing real estate. It can be uncomfortable having these conversations, asking for things, raising capital. But anytime I've ever raised capital, I talk a lot about this in the mentorship. Anytime we go to raise capital, all it is a question. Hey, will you do this? Hey, are you interested in this? And like Patrick and Terry just validated and said, there has to be a deal, right? Me as an investor, if you come to me and say, hey, can you lend money? Sure, of course I can. What do you got? What am I lending on? If there's nothing signed, well, there's no reason to give you money yet. Like, there has to be something signed. There has to be something we're buying, something that's closed on, that is going to be transacted for. Otherwise, there's no need for money. It's just in theory, you might need it, but you don't actually need it until something's locked down, until there's something to put across the table. So let's give our coaches a round of applause. I appreciate you guys being on here. Christmas, right? Christmas Day. It's very cool. And for everybody who has shown up, this is Christmas Day. So bless you, bless your family. Thank you for taking the time to be here. You are part of a very dedicated group of people. You've got goals. You're ambitious. Everybody else is celebrating right now. They're eating with their families. And I want you to be able to go and celebrate and eat with your families as well. But I also want to recognize you for being here today, for taking the time to show up and do something that most people are not doing. This is what will be one of those leverage points, one of those one things that separates you from the pack, from everybody else. And it's okay. By the way, I just spent time with my family. It's okay to make a lot more money than your family. They love you either way. No matter how much you make, they're still going to love you. So if that's ever a concern, trust me, put it out of your mind. My family still loves me no matter how much I make, no matter how much more than them I make, they still love me. And it's really cool to be able to, when they're in a situation like my brother, got into a car accident this week, and his gym, has to be opened. I'm in a situation where I was like, well, how much do you need? What's the problem? What's the story here? And he's like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, let me know, because money's not an issue, right? We don't have that issue, because I went and I put this work in. I went and I did the things that are difficult to do, that most people are afraid to do. So that if somebody in my family, if somebody in my circle has an issue, like, I know how to solve that problem. I know how to take a loan if I had to take a loan, or hire people, or solve any issue that could come up, or get a new car. Like, those are small deals to me. As long as he's alive and healthy, everything else can be fixed with time, money, and energy. Does that make sense? So it was great seeing my family. It's great seeing my brother. He's doing wonderful, by the way. And his facility is getting taken care of. Anybody who's volunteering, Sunday from 12 to 2, there's going to be a team there of all volunteers. Josh will be managing everybody, putting everybody in place. He's got goals and tasks for everybody. And it's, we're talking painting. We're not talking like crazy stuff, painting, some work on ladders. And if you are a talented electrician, he has some work for electricians. He does have some work for carpenters, but as long as the painting stuff's out of the way, the inspectors can come in and do their job next week. So for everybody who is volunteering and helping Josh out, it means a lot to me, because, I'm here in Florida. So anybody who's still in Fall or still in town doing that work, it's, paying it forward. Take a selfie while you're there and send it to me, and I'll make sure that you're in one of my charts. I'm going to do a blog post for everybody who goes out there and does something. So thank you guys. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. For our team of people who showed up, there's 25 of you. Let me see, 26 participants on the call. I'm going to open up to questions. What questions do you have, or things you learned, or ambitions, things you want to do, right? In your country, in your city, how can investing affect your life, and how would hyper focus have an impact on what you're doing right now? And you just unmute the mic. Anybody's able to do this. First to unmute gets points.
Melissa, are you going or you want me to go?
You go.
I love it. Desiree, you go first. You said it first. Go ahead.
So my thing is something that I learned was really key for me is that to the hyper focus part of it, because you do find yourself going from one thing to the other, and so you kind of lose focus, and you're trying to have a diverse portfolio and things of that nature. But for me, I want to invest in that one multifamily property, just that one that will just take me from here to there. So that's what I want to focus in 2022. I want to have that focus, that shift. So thank you. I appreciate all of the comments about that.
And Desiree, what's that property look like? So, we're on Facebook Live. Somebody wants to send you a deal that looks like what you're looking for. What would that look like? Where would it be? What size is it?
I want to start in my state. I'm in Tennessee, Nashville, Memphis, the surrounding area, maybe 10 to 15 units in the area. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I want to have that one property, multifamily property.
Excellent. That could be a 10 to 15 unit portfolio. It could be 2 or 3 6s, whatever, as long as it's one swing, one purchase, one capital raise, nice and easy for you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Let's give Desiree Johnson a round of applause. She's in Tennessee, Nashville, or Memphis. She's the girl.
Yes.
Awesome. Melissa, you're up.
So, Walt, I just want to thank you and the community. I love you. I love this community. I am so blessed and so humble. And for me personally, really, getting that hyper focus, and at this stage in my life where I'm going and what I plan on doing, where it's not the buy, fix, and flip. It's for me, it's the buy and hold, and the bigger units, and the hyper focus is so important. I know the past 2 to 3 months, I've actually missed out on a couple that it's my own fault because I was not hyper focused. But I appreciate everything. It's always a learning experience every single week, and it's all positive. So thank you. And can I just put one big shout out for my younger cousin?
Of course.
So I saw him last night, Christmas Eve, and my baby younger cousin, he's 34, 35. And I'm so proud of him. He has bought 2 multifamilies in Lowell, Mass, and that's where he's living. And he's got a lot of money invested in different areas, but he is looking to grow in the Burlington, Mass and surrounding area. So if there's anybody out there that focuses on that area, I do not. He's looking to buy and hold. And also, I did put him in touch with Darina and a few others, and also possibly an Airbnb down in Fort Lauderdale. So I reached out to LJ and Darina. So just reach out to me. So got to take care of my baby cousin.
Melissa, I love that you know exactly who to talk to get the work done without it being you. You're staying focused in your market, doing what you're doing, but you're still able to serve your cousin by saying, okay, Darina and LJ, those are their markets. And Darina will figure out who in Burlington is the best and connect them. And you have that faith and understanding. So it's who, not how. Let's give Melissa Baker a round of applause. She's doing absolutely amazing in this program. And she's a contributing member. She's not just just so you know, she's a millionaire who's come in and is supporting to help other millionaires grow as well. She's not when you hear her ask questions, she's asking to help for herself, but she's also doing these things. She's already a millionaire. She's expanding herself. Her and her husband have done amazing. So you can still keep growing. Hence the camp, it's okay to keep growing, right? A million is just a stepping stone. It's just the next level. And to be able to share and give to others is so rewarding. It's really cool to see her doing it. So I love it, Melissa. And I saw a question, Jay Miller dropped in the comments. When investors know the deal is the offer or the perks of partnership, they commit prior to properties going under contract and performance-based funds, not unlike those who commit to syndication creators. The models discussed here also work as well as focus strategies with different objectives from those involved. here they all lead to the best for all concerned. Absolutely, Jay. That's the truth. It's get something, lock it down, and then find the financing and find the person who's going to connect that. This is business 101. This is real estate investing 101. Find a good deal, or get good at finding the people who find good deals. Like Melissa just leveraged other people who can find deals. And then you go and connect the deal, well, find the facts. So find, fund, and find facts, and then fund the deal in that order. Don't get ahead of yourself with, I need to have the money yet. Should you be going out and having conversations with people who have money? Yes, go out, do that. Absolutely. Talk to people, let them know what kind of deals you're going to be looking for. In the mentorship, we do have access to our on-demand training. And in one of those on-demand trainings, there's 2 trainings. One is called Names on Deeds, which in Names on Deeds, we go through the entire process of how to raise capital and put your name on deeds, like the detailed version of what we just talked about today. And then the other one is Get the Money, which is a very deep training and just how to raise capital, all the different strategies to raise capital. And the reason we put it out there is so that I get these questions a lot. I can give you something and just send you somewhere to go and get the answers. And then if you have questions on top of that, something I didn't address, well, that's what reaching out to me is for. And I found that people who don't ask questions are not taking action. So go out, don't be afraid to take some action. Don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Those mistakes allow you to ask me questions. And when you ask me questions or ask one of our millionaires questions, we can get you to the next level just by answering. Knowledge is power, but it's useless without action. It's useless without going out there and doing some stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this weekend. Merry Christmas to each one of you. Again, like I said, it's very impressive to see you here on Christmas Day. You're one of the few, the proud, the brave, the legends who are willing to take that time to keep educating yourself and get to that next level. I see your success. I want it just as badly as you do. So thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your journey, and cheers to your success, my friends. I'll see you next week. Next week, Wealth Principle. Go ahead.
Are we meeting at 9 Eastern next Saturday, which is New Year's?
Shit. so New Year's.
Yes, we are.
Is it New Year's Day or is it New Year's Eve?
It's New Year's Day.
It's New Year's Day.
It's the new day,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start the weekend strong. Like people waking up, like missing family is important. Like I don't want you to miss family, but missing sleep, I don't give a shit about it. Like you can wake up early.
Absolutely.
Yeah, losing sleep, man. Come on, that's part of being an entrepreneur. Let's go lose some sleep. Let's do it together.
All right.
Walter, I have one more question for you and for the community.
Yeah.
So when you're making the offers, and we make hundreds of offers, cash, as is, so forth. So let's say you have a property that we always make it subject to clear marketable title, but let's say you don't want to make a cash offer, but you're competing with other cash buyers. Do you put maybe like subject to an electrical inspection or subject to some kind of inspection? Like you don't want to put it subject to funding. You can get it funded, but you want to protect yourself and your deposit just in case, like once you do the research and find out the facts. How do you word your contracts?
It depends on if I'm dealing with a sophisticated agent on the other end or not. Most of my contracts, I don't even care if they take the money. My deposits are typically $100. So it's not really a big deal. I'm not really putting any risk out there. Yeah.
Wow.
Except for with the large multifamily stuff, when we were talking about, well, Ron and I do, like we'll still verbal everything. Like we very rarely write up a written contract other than outside of an email. We just send, hey, are we in the ballpark? Throw that email out there. If we are close, then we'll start writing stuff up. And at that point, by the time we're having the conversation, putting in a contingency contract is no big deal. There's no competition. We really do avoid the competition. Like our strategy is just be the first person to the owner. Try to be the person who's going to an owner that's not getting any traffic, like knows something about the property that somebody else doesn't know. Like
you're talking more off market versus on market.
Well, even on market, like we did, Eastern Ave was on market. Nice big brick building, 6,000 square feet, but it was marketed as a 6-family. So we bought it and we converted it over to a what was it called? A rooming house. And when we converted it to rooming house, we listed it as a rooming house. It went from being worth 300,000 as a 6-family to being worth 480 as a rooming house, just from changing the value of the property, the usage of the property.
What's the difference between a rooming house and Airbnb?
It's in Fall River, so location.
Location, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that the easiest way to put that, Melissa, is an Airbnb is actually listed on Airbnb and you're following Airbnb rules. A rooming house, you have your own rental system, probably through your rental company.
Yeah, rooming house, like Airbnb really is kind of a rooming house. It's a bed and breakfast. For the properties that we've done in Fall River, like there's really no room for an Airbnb. Like the just numbers don't work. There's not enough volume or need for it. So for us, like rooming house would have been more longer term tenants that are in there for 30 days, 90 days, but they're just living in bedrooms instead of having full apartments. Whereas Airbnb is more short term rentals, like they're very short term.
But not every town is going to allow a rooming house.
Oh no, Fall River doesn't like to do it either. We got very lucky with that one.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. It was a $180,000 variance change or usage change. So that was worth over 180 to us. So it was a very good risk to take on for us, where we are with the portfolio. Not saying it's not always going to be a good deal for people.
But that's your hometown.
Also willing to fail on that one, so it would have been okay.
And that's your hometown. You know it like the back of your hand. So, and you've got your brother there, and
yes. And I got a little bit of pull in the city. I spent a lot of time on the conservation board, so I spent a lot of time in City Hall building relationships.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Excellent. Great questions. Next week is Wealth Principle 48, Know Thyself. It's the power of personality assessments. We do personality assessments to identify what is the right thing for us to work on and what are the wrong things. So we want to work on our strengths, right? The things that we're weak in, we can find partners for. We can go and hire somebody or partner up with somebody who has a strength in our weaknesses. Trust me, no matter how amazing you are, there's something you're probably not that good at. And here's what's really weird and unique about these personality assessments. Your strengths are also the cause of your weaknesses. So whatever your massive strength is, has with it the opposite side of going too far in that direction. So the best partnerships, the millionaires, the multimillionaires I know have found somebody whose strengths are opposite of their strengths. This way, yes, their opinion, me and Ron have different opinions on a lot of things, but what he's good at, I'm not good at. What I'm good at, he's not good at. And so we're able to move a lot faster, further forward to help a lot more people. So ladies and gentlemen, stick around for next week. I will see you. It will be a whole new year. Cheers to your success, new choice. Always work with the best.
The best.
Thank you.
The best.
Merry Christmas.
The best.
Merry Christmas.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Cheers.
you.